Hello again. So as you would have seen in the title, this is test day. I guess I'm equal parts nervous and excited. I expect something to go wrong, to be honest. Either a pinhole in the tank, or a fitting that's kind of shitty, or one of the fittings that's not sealed correctly, something to that effect. I don't expect it to go perfect first time. I mean, especially considering that I've never done anything like this before. But it's ready to test. Everything is kind of plumbed in pretty loosely. Excuse me. Just kind of thrown together. You can see everything is ready to go. The car is back with its wheels on, at least anyway. Now it's not on the ground. It's actually with the the air shocks fully compressed. I couldn't get even my really low jack. I couldn't get it out from under it. Same at the back. I just had to use a couple of blocks of wood and a normal jack, and that obviously that won't come out either. So I guess I'll just calibrate it and test it and use it as it sits now, and when it hopefully when it lifts I can pull the jacks out from there then and work out any bugs. But today is literally just a test to make sure that it actually works and does indeed lift up and down, you know. So it's exciting. Let's get to it. Oh my god, it's so cool. I tried to get a time lapse of it going up and down. I'll do it in a second now, but I had to kind of get it to calibrate and stuff like that. I couldn't quite work it out, and then I had only one leaky fitting. Just very, very pleased with that. It's so cool. It's fucking awesome. It's super, super cool. I'm so happy with it. I'll just show you how. It's aired all the way out at the minute. So it probably could go a little bit lower, but it's physically being stopped by the body of the car. Well, at the front there, it's fine. I know the front wing's not on, but even this side, it's not super, it's not catching. It would drive that high, which would be brilliant. But the back, oh, it's so cool. Just the look of it is so cool. Super, super cool. So it does catch the piece of the arch there. I'm not super. You can see all the paint is flaking now. In fairness, the inside of that is kind of fucked anyway. It's full of seam sealer and shit. So what I think I'll probably just do, I was going to do it anyway really, was they are, what is it, 185/60. So if I got 185/50s or even 45s and stretch the hell out of them, that'll probably resolve that issue. But I also have adjustable camber arms, so I could pull them in that bit more as well. But just look at that. It's so fucking cool. Oh my god, it's super fucking cool. So I'll set up the camera and I'll do a little time lapse of it going up and down. I still haven't quite figured out all the controls and so on, but I'll get it figured out. Okay, I thought I had it all kind of sorted, that one leaky fitting that I mentioned, but I took the entire setup out of the car because it's quite cramped in the car to try and spray a bit of soapy water to see where the leak might be coming from. I thought it was going to be maybe either side of the water trap there, it's where it sounded like it was coming from, but I checked all that, it's fine. It turns out that it was this guy here. Now it's not that I thought the fitting was maybe busted or something like that, but it seems fine. I think what was wrong was the piece of pipe that I had in it. Maybe it was just not seating correctly or something, so I just cut a new piece of pipe, put it in it. It seems fine. I can't hear anything. I don't see anything with the soapy water. I literally can't hear a single hiss from it. So I might leave it overnight and see. There's 40 psi in it. Might leave it overnight, or for at least an hour or two anyway. Come back and see if what kind of loss, if any, is in it. But if you're doing it yourself, if you want to test how well your stuff is sealed, at least on the intake, I guess you'd call it intake side, you can leave the compressor plugged in just to block up the port. Well, you could run the compressor if you wanted. I just filled it off my own compressor. Leave it connected to your water trap, and then just put it into the tank side of the manifold. That'll keep everything sealed, as long as you don't go too crazy with it or leave it sitting there for too long. I imagine it wouldn't do any damage to the manifold, but we'll see how long and if that maintains that pressure, and it should be fine. I guess it'll just be a question, well, realistically, once it's going back into the car for the final time, after it's gotten NCT'd, after it's gotten rust repair, once it's ready to roll, for the last time, I'll probably cut all new bits of pipe, not for the bags of course, but for the water trap and the exhaust side of the manifold, excuse me, stuff like that. But I'll be back with a little check-in on how well it maintains the pressure. Well, we're back again. So I'd left it sitting there, as I said, and to check how long it held that pressure in the tank, and to be honest, it didn't. Like, I checked it about an hour or so later, and it was still, it had dropped down quite a bit, like 10 or 12 psi. I can't remember for sure, but so I took it apart, put it back in the car. This will be kind of difficult to see now because I don't have a light, because my light has gone dead. But the fitting that I did think was kind of gammy, this guy here, you can't really see it, but anyway, it seems that I think it's fine on the tank side, like where it goes into the tank, but on the PTC side, I don't know, maybe it's just a little bit messed up or something, I don't know, because when it's twisted around and upright like that, it's fine, like I can wiggle that side of it and everything is fine, there's nothing. But when it's turned down the opposite way, so you have to go through the hole there and down under into the water trap and so on, it seems to leak. So I put everything back into the car, connected it all up. I have the car is, as you can see there, it's aired all the way up, the whole way around, and I have, there we go, the compressor had built up to the 150 it's supposed to cut off, and in about an hour, maybe a bit less than an hour, I've gone from 150 psi to 143. So I don't really know, like, I can't hear a leak, I can't see anything, nothing. So unless there's an ever so slight leak somewhere in that fitting or something, because everything else seemed. Oh yeah, another thing that I did do to help try and find the leak was I bypassed, just for test sake, I bypassed the water trap is under there. I bypassed it entirely with just the leftover hose, so this piece here is going straight from that fitting straight over into the manifold, into the, say, like the tank side of the manifold, and there doesn't appear to be any leak. But I don't know, time will tell, I suppose. I'm just gonna have to wait and see. I might leave the car sitting here for a couple of hours. It's late enough now, it's like almost 8 o'clock in the evening, so I might leave it as it is, come back in 2 hours or something, check that 143 psi. I expect it to be lower, but I don't really know, like, what an acceptable loss is, I guess you'd say. Or say overnight, or over a 6 or 8 hour period or something, or like if I had 144 psi, should it stay there basically forever unless it's used or leaking, or is there always going to be some kind of loss, you know? So I'm going to come back in a couple of hours and check that. This may or may not be the end of this video. I'd say it probably will be, but we'll find out in a while. Okay, well, the last update, so from the lift test, couple of not bad issues as such, but I seem to have quite a few leaks, or definitely more than I thought anyway. You would have seen a couple of episodes ago I had found some of those fittings in a local place in town. It didn't seem to be holding a great, like, it's not that it didn't seem to seal great, but in comparison to, it's going to be kind of hard to tell now because I'm trying to do this one-handed, but the difference in, like, that's obviously an NPT thread, so it tapers. That doesn't appear to taper. Now it went into the water trap fine, but again it's going to be very hard to tell this now, but there definitely does seem, in the shadow there definitely does seem to be a difference in them, so maybe that's like a BSP thread or something instead, as opposed to an NPT. So, but I have the pair of them anyway, so that shouldn't be a big deal. But the other thing, and maybe if you've done air stuff before, you might be able to help me out. Not all the time, but sometimes air seems to come out of the bottom of the water trap. I don't know if that's part of the, like, bleeding, like, relief process or something, I don't know, or else maybe that water trap is busted, I don't really know. I had it all together and tested in the car, and there was just, like I said, the little port plug there was leaking, the smaller one up there was leaking. I even took them out to try and kind of, hang on a second now, the original one, I'm kind of rambling here now, sorry, the original fitting that was kind of leaky was this one. You can kind of even still see some of the bubbles in around the edge there, so I was going to go and get one of these tomorrow in that local place in town where I got stuff before, but my fear then is that it won't be NPT thread. I should have asked. I might just go in and ask anyway if they have NPT. If not, I'll just order one of those online. It won't be a big deal. So I think that's probably going to be it for this episode. I imagine that'll probably be it for a couple of weeks, I think, because there's no point in me really going too crazy trying to find leaks and so on. Because I need to pull it all apart to put the standard shocks and springs back into it to be able to bring it down to my buddy Dara to get the rust repair done, and then also to have it NCT'd. But I might have found a way around that, not around getting it NCT'd, but I might have found a way to get it engineered. We'll worry about that down the line. One last thing I will say before I go is one theory I have about why some of these fittings, like sometimes they, even the 90 degrees ones that I got, they fit fine, like they go straight in, no problem. There's no, like, you wouldn't pull that out, like they're absolutely fine. But it seems that, let's say for argument's sake it's sitting that way, it seems that if there's a bit too much, let's say if the pipe is pulling it kind of, this is difficult to do now with one hand, but if the pipe is pulling at the fitting too much, it's like it creates a gap in here and water starts to come out there. So I don't know if that's because, if that's, oh, something fell over. I don't know if that's an inherent thing with the 3/8 pipes, because there's so much tension in them, or if it's just I've had bad luck or something. I'm not really sure. So, but if you've had something like that happen to you before, let me know, and if so, what you did to fix it. But yeah, that's going to be it. So as I said, this will probably be the last one for a couple of weeks, so I'll be back pretty soon, hopefully. Peace.